How does being an artist shape my identity? Well, it's what I do. So just by the fact that I get up in the morning and these are the actions that I take, it defines who I am, right? I'm constantly thinking of painting, drawing, designing, so that I could get a way in which I could express some little slice of our lives. There is of course, an overlapping process in all the work, but I would definitely say before I have this process, and maybe even this is part of the process as well, is that each image presents its own focus, its own method in some ways. Not that I'm reinventing how to paint in each one, but there is a particular way in which I'm thinking about laying out my materials. But yet each image will have some variation of the process. So, we can think of what I actually do is I just basically go around and live my life, but there's always parts of my everyday experience that attracts me in some way. So an image, a view of life, something will catch my eye in some way. And I try to capture it in a few ways. Certainly I try to take some notes on what I saw. I definitely with a sketchbook, I'll try to do a quick drawing of it because there's a simplification that I'm after when I create the work. I want it to be a simple, dynamic image that I then, maybe the word is complicate by adding more details in it. So I'll use a mixture of drawing, notes, photography to create the work, and certainly having a process set helps me do it a little bit in a more efficient manner. Some years ago I was being interviewed by another group, and I remember kind of joking around, thinking, when the question was asked, a similar question, and I remember joking in my head, going, "Wow, these are just the paintings of New Jersey," and they're not. They're actually literally not depictions of New Jersey. But it was sort of an idea of like, I look for New Jersey wherever I am, and I mean it sort of as a joke, but I kind of actually do mean it. And what do I mean is that I'm trying to capture a little bit of what's home to me. And I grew up in northern New Jersey, and there's this feeling of things that I'm attracted to are something that's in some way comforting to me, even though they're not necessarily extravagant. I mean, come on, this is a puddle. This is just a puddle and some mud in there, But there's an attraction to what this everyday life feeling that I get walking around, and who's walking around? It's me, right? And who am I? There's a sort of a feeling of, all right, I am a collection of this moment and my past moments and what I think is going to be, right? So my past moments are definitely rolled up into my memories and into my experiences, which, I could joke that it's New Jersey, it's where I grew up, right? So it's just, I look for things that remind me of that. I've also joked about this idea of, not being able to afford for a while a therapist. So in a way, I paint to kind of inform myself about myself. But luckily, for the past few years, it's been connecting. There's some kind of universality to it, that it's been connecting to some collectors and to certainly other buyers of art. And I'm hoping that, or not hoping, I'm actually seeing that, yeah, there is a connection to what I find attractive with other people, because these are just everyday moments. These are, I like to think of this, the in-between moments from, one place to the other. The in-between checking your email or checking your text message to getting to your car, or driving from one place to another, but here you are at a red light, and there's just something beautiful in this one moment, just this one little moment, and I want to try to capture that. Yeah. How long have I been working as an artist? There's in the beginning, and I found sometimes I run into a student or someone studying this stuff, and I remember being something like that, right? And even for a long time after I wasn't a student anymore, I mean, I kind of still am, but sort of this uncomfortable feeling of saying, "Oh, I'm an artist," or or "I'm a painter." It was strange to say that as a profession. It took me a long time to be able to really be comfortable and say, "Yeah, this is what I do." I'm not exactly sure yet what changed in me, but how long? I mean, gosh, I don't want to sound kind of corny here, but I feel like, well, maybe I've always been an artist, or I've always been someone who observes and tries to record those observations, or someone that is slightly sensitive to a moment, or slightly sensitive to what something may look like, and I feel like maybe it has something to do with my upbringing and being someone that, I know we moved around a lot and having to build social skills quickly because you move from school to school. And heck, even with that, I know that there were times where I made friends just by going into a new school, sitting down, starting to draw, and by lunchtime I would have my set of friends. But how long have I been an artist officially? I would say, I really picked up a paintbrush and seriously went at a body of work about 2004, 2005. So we're talking about 10 years now. But yeah, but before then I was studying, I was drawing constantly. I was attacking every book I could think of, reading different takes on artists and copying and but again, when do you officially call yourself an artist? It's like, when do you officially call yourself a professional athlete? I guess maybe finance has to do with it. Being paid might have something to do with it. But if that's the case, I was 11 years old and I was paid $50 for a drawing. So, well, I don't know. Am I an artist since I was 11? I'm not sure. But yeah, that's. I don't know if I answered the question, but the answer's in there somewhere. Here's what I want to say, and here's what's been actual. So I want to say, and these are the things that I've done, right? I've read God knows how many books on how to be this, how to be an artist, how to gain galleries, how to negotiate, how to do all of these kind of things. And they were fine reading, but at the end of all this, probably the most important thing, nothing else matters but the work. Nothing else matters on the quality of that work. I mean, yes, there's we have all kinds of art worlds bumping into each other, where sometimes you scratch your head and ask, I can't believe this person made this amount of money for this particular work. And I like to say, just you can't worry about that. You can't copy that. You can't, you just have to. It's sort of, you're on your own quest, and you have to find your right path. And again, I want to say those books helped. I want to say that was important. But at the end of the day, I really don't have I don't have an answer. I think that every journey for each artist is very different. We've arrived at quote unquote success or quote unquote some kind of satisfaction in our careers, all through different avenues. You know, and again, I wish I could say I could write down this formula and go, just follow this formula, you'll be all right. But there are some truths to it. I mean, and I think the ultimate truth is work on your work. Make sure that the art is of good quality. Some of these things are true, and we hear it in an athletic realm. You know, it's just don't be satisfied. How can you improve? How can you keep working on this so that the work is better? I know that dealing with that aspect of it seems to open up doors, or giving you opportunity, more than anything more practical that I have read in books. I feel like, you know, I was digress a little bit and talk a little bit about, you know, how I feel like I've learned this particular thing. So I was an athlete a gazillion years ago. And I remember being in high school, and I went to a high school where, you know, it's a big deal to play football. You know, we had a legendary coach. And I remember me wanting to be a part of it somehow, some way. And obviously, I didn't know what it is. Like, there's no formula really, I guess, to figure out how to be part of this, except, you know, you join the team. But I remember being someone that I just got involved as much as possible with the team. So if the first team, the varsity team was practicing, well, I made sure that I was the dummy defense or the dummy offense. In other words, I went against the varsity and helped them. You know, they just kind of beat me up, right? You know, they needed to do their plays and they beat me up. And then when I was told to take a break, well, then I would just run into the varsity huddle, and I'd go in and I'd just be involved and check, okay, here's a particular play they're gonna call. What does it look like? What does it feel like inside this situation? And so I'd be inside there, and then I'd watch them to see how they did it. So what am I trying to say is that, you know, if it's something like you want to be part of a gallery, or if you want to, you know, get better, then be around those that are better. Be around the gallery you want to be in, or you know, it's just be around, but also have the preparation of your work. You know, draw, paint, or whatever your artwork is. You know, constantly work on that craft, and just be around, and hope a door opens. And again, there are formal ways. You know, it's never helped. It's never helped me to, you know, email or send portfolios. Those things, you know, it probably does work in some way. You probably do have to do those things, you know. But for me, it just hasn't been that way. It hasn't been one where there's a formal way of doing it. It's been kind of organic. And, you know, a long answer for sure, but definitely work on your skill, work on your work. That's the first thing. And then just be around so that opportunities could happen. And they're not guaranteed, but the work will open doors for you.